Hello, everybody. So I'm pretty sure I am live here. Okay. So I'm here because I'm finishing up some Q&As. I made a post like, I don't know, a couple weeks ago asking what your questions were that you wanted me to answer in relation to love, relationships, feminine energetics, men, love, all the things, right? So I got a question from a wonderful lady, and she asked, how do you stay in the feminine and balance that out while being a working woman? So, you guys know the drill. If you are here with me, say hi. If you are watching the replay, then go ahead and hashtag replay. Um, so I have some thoughts about this because your masculine energy is not bad. It's just when does it need to be utilized and when does your feminine energy need to be utilized, right? So, as a business owner, I've been a business owner for, I don't know, what, the last like 5.5 years. Actually, longer than that, but I had a Reiki business before I became a coach. So, around 6 years, right? And I've always been a single mom up until now. Ran a household, worked my ass off. Sometimes I worked, 3 jobs at a time. And so there's a time for your masculine energy and there's a time for your feminine energy. And so in business, you're going to use both, right? And in certain circumstances, in love, you're going to use both. And so when it comes to like, it's beautiful to have your masculine energy in business. We really do need that. We need to be able to plan. We need to be able to execute, right? And the problem is when you as a successful badass woman has your masculine energy leak into your love life with men. And so what that looks like is when you are, you're badass in business, you know how to make things happen, you're a problem solver, all the things, right? And so you use your skill set there and you try to use it in love and it just does not work, right? So when it comes to love, relationships and dating, how I see this happen for my clients and what I used to do as well is like you are overworking, you're over initiating, you're trying to problem solve, you're over explaining your feelings. And so, again, I see this a lot with my clients before we kind of uncover this and look at what they're doing and why they're doing it, right? So, number one thing is for masculine energy that like repels high value men is when you try to initiate the plans like all the time, right? So you're picking up a man's slack. You're the one who is putting in all the effort. You're the one that's initiating the plans. You're the one who's driving to the man. You're the one who's making it really, really easy on them. So they don't have to really do much to pursue you at all, right? And for high value men, they love to pursue, right? And so that's where we have to look at this and say, okay, where am I over initiating? Where am I over giving? Where am I overdoing? Because that will make you an energetic match for users and takers, men who are more than happy to have you do all the work. Right. And it's exhausting for you. Like you don't even like doing it, maybe. And of course, like there's a balance, right? I love giving in a certain way in my relationship and I love initiating certain things in my relationship. And I like to use like the 80-20 rule, right? Where you're initiating some of the time and your partner is your man is initiating more, right? Because they thrive on that. And again, there's times and places for this, but early on in the dating stage, it's really important that the man is in pursuit of you. Okay. So you're not the one who is overextending yourself. And again, you want to give from an aligned place. So when you're overgiving and you're overdoing, it's coming from a place of, I am not enough. Right. And so a confident woman can pretty much do anything. Right. But when it comes to you doing things out of an unaligned place, then, ooh, there's a bee, then that's when it's out of alignment with you, right? So if you're cooking a man dinner because you want him to see how valuable you are and you don't believe that you're enough, then it's not going to be a good fit. And it's not, the energy is going to be misaligned there. And again, you're going to be a match for users and takers, right? trying to problem solve. Like, this is a thing that I see a lot, and I make sure to never do this. And it's trying to solve a man's problems, right? So, say you are out on a date and he's telling you something, and even like, whether it's in the beginning or, you guys are married, whatever it is, if you're trying to solve his problems, if he's telling you something and you're like, oh, you should do this, 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 and this, he's not going to respond to that well. That's not going to feel good for him, because men are natural problem solvers. They love to problem solve, and they love to be the man in their life. And they also want to be the man in your life, right? And so if you're saying, if you're stepping in, like, he's really just wanting you to listen to him. And I think you can also notice this for yourself, where it's like, there's sometimes when you really do want advice, and then there's sometimes where you just want to be able to vent, right? And so being an active listener with a man is really, really important. And being able to just allow him to speak about the things that he's going through without you saying, oh, you should go to therapy, you should start a gratitude list, you should be reading this book, you should be doing that. That's going to instantly repel a man. Okay. Actually, it will repel a high value man. What that will be a good match for is a man child who needs his mommy to step up and fix everything for him. And again, that makes you exhausted. You don't like doing it. Maybe it makes you feel valuable, like when you're a therapist in a man's life. And again, I've done that, and it's not fun. It's like, yeah, it feels good for a minute because you're like, oh, I have all the answers for this. But then you feel absolutely depleted, and they don't feel like the man in your life, and you feel like you are just leading and fixing, and it's exhausting. It doesn't work. Um, Another thing, I wrote this down. Let's see. Over explaining your feelings. So this is where you're like like you need to be understood, and you're trying to over explain, and instead of saying like how you just feel, you're trying to over explain a situation, and you're trying to make sure they get all these points, and it causes you guys to like talk in circles. Um and that is you kind of pushing, using your masculine energy, right? Um Making like you leading the pace of the relationship. I see this a lot in these go-getter business badass women. Instead of letting the man lead the pace of the relationship, you kind of start to step in, and you're wanting to quicken the pace, right? Like, oh my gosh, he's not doing it fast enough. And if you have a history of narcissistic abuse or being with men who are love bombers and all the things, you want to move things quickly because that's what you're used to. You're used to the highs of the connection and the chaos and all that stuff. High value men, they're going to take a slower pace. And it's our job as feminine women to receive that and allow them to lead the pace, right? And so, what that doesn't mean is that the man's not moving things forward and you're just sitting there looking pretty and waiting for it to happen, right? It's like, you know what you want, which is for a relationship to move forward, but he's moving it at an appropriate pace, and you are trusting him to move it at that proper pace. Because again, I used to be that girl who would want to move everything so fast, and I would take the lead and be like, oh, you should meet my friends, you should meet my family, and do all this stuff, right? And it was way before it was appropriate to even do that. And so when you start trying to lead, it's going to turn off a high value man, and it's going to turn on that, you know, child boy man. And you're not going to enjoy it, and it's going to go too fast, and the relationship's going to break down. Like, one of my things that I tell my clients is like, if a relationship starts off hot, it tends to burn quickly. And so allow a man to lead the pace. If he's moving too fast, then it is your job to, so a man leads with his actions, a woman leads with her boundaries and energy, right? And so you are saying, oh, this feels a little too fast for me. Can we slow down? Right? So that's how I see masculine energy seep into relationships and dating, and it doesn't work out well. Like, it's not aligned for you or the person that you're wanting to basically call in, right? Like your high value person, your man of your dreams, all of those things. And so what feminine energy looks like is being able to be emotionally open and receptive. So this is wildly important because for those of you who keep attracting emotionally unavailable guys, chances are you are not emotionally open and receptive. And what I mean by that is like, I'll have people push back and be like, no, I am. I said this, this, and this, but it wasn't them actually expressing their emotions and their true vulnerability without blaming, making the person wrong, their true feelings as they are. So I want you to look at that. Like, that's really wildly important when you are dating and, of course, in relationship as well, because there's going to be, I mean, when you think about spending your life with somebody, and I think this scares a lot of women, people who have that emotional intimacy wound and that abandonment wound, is like, if you're spending your life with somebody, they're going to see a lot of stuff from you, right? They're going to see your ugliest points. They're going to see your frustrated points. They're going to see all of these things. And it's about you, and they're not going to get things right. You're not going to get things right. And the most important thing to have a thriving relationship is to be open and honest and communicate your feelings in a way that is not shaming or blaming. And that is what makes you vulnerable and emotionally available. And it's also what's going to attract a emotionally available man. So your ability to be connected with your feelings and your ability to express that in a way that they can hear you. Wildly important. And this, again, this is what I teach all of my clients, because it's like, when it comes to vulnerability, it's not about trauma dumping. It's about literally like what you're feeling, whether it is positive, whether it is not feeling good, whatever it is, right? And receiving his effort and leadership with gratitude. And so when he is, so high value men, they want to provide for you, they want to give to you, they want to make your life easier. 100%, right? And, you know, a lot of the times you've been comfortable with people who take from you, right? As uncomfortable as it is, as much as you say that you hate it, that is more comfortable to you, because when you've had experiences where men want to give to you, whether it's a compliment, whether it's buying you dinner, whether it is helping you with something, you've probably pushed it away and like, no, no, you don't have to do that, yada, 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 right? Well, they want to. It feels good. Like, think about when you give a gift to somebody, or that you want to pay for something and they're like, no, 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 I couldn't possibly take that. And you're like, no, like, I want to give to you, like, let me do it. And then you like get kind of annoyed because they won't take it. So this is really important in your dynamic with a man. They want to give to you. They want to make your life easier. And so when you are just saying, thank you, yes, I would love the help. Thank you, yes, that feels so good to me. Thank you, yes. That's you being in your feminine energy. And that is such an incredibly beautiful energy to have. You know, it really is. It makes them feel like your hero. It makes them feel like they matter. Men need to be needed, right? And when you're allowing them to do that, you feel better and they feel better. So, like, why not just let it happen, right? And that includes compliments, like, instead of brushing it off and saying, like, oh no, like, I don't look good today, whatever. Like, if they're telling you you look beautiful, or they like your outfit or whatever it is, simply just looking them in the eye and saying, like, thank you, that makes me feel so good. You know, it's harder than I'm making it out to be. Like, I know 100% this is something that I struggled with, and sometimes even still do struggle with, more so with women than my partner at this point. But you know, it's like a girl comes up to you and she's like, oh, you're so pretty, and like immediately you want to be like, oh, I don't, like, my hair's not washed today or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, just practicing receiving from a man and his leadership. If he, you know, men really do love to solve problems, and sometimes you want them to solve your problem and sometimes you just want them to listen. And so it's your job to kind of set that open-hearted boundary of, if you're telling them something and they're wanting to solve your problem and you just want to talk about it, then you can say, you know, I'd really just love if you could listen right now. And again, we're not perfect. Like, sometimes I don't realize what's happening. Like, if I'm, you know, going through something and then Mike's like, oh, like, you could do this, this, this. And then I'm like shutting it down. And then I'm like, oh shit, I've been shutting it down instead of being like, you know, telling him what I need or what I'm thinking. Right. So there's that piece of being in your feminine energy. letting yourself be pursued and adored. And so this is again where you're allowing a man to step up and plan the dates for you, where you are showing up, he's picking you up, he's making your life easier. Again, men really do need that pursuit. And when you are too available and when you're taking that on, it ruins the polarity, right? Like you don't want to be doing that stuff. And again, like I said, there's time and place in relationship when you do that. But in the beginning, and obviously throughout the entire relationship, because you're going to be dating your partner forever, but allowing him to pursue you is really important. So you're receiving that pursuit. It's all about receiving, right? Being soft and grounded in your body. So a lot of the times we are getting stuck in our heads. That's the safest for us. If we have been through trauma, if we have experienced sexual assault, if we've experienced domestic violence, again, I've experienced all of that, and it was not safe to be in my body for a very long time. And so I would overthink, I would overanalyze, I would do all of these things. And I was wildly disconnected from my body. And even this past year, I struggled heavily with being in my body because for those of you who know what I've been going through, healing from breast implant illness, and just feeling so awful, it was a practice for me to drop back into my body. It took a long time for me to get back into my body and get out of my head and to stop numbing out, right? And so when you are connected with your body, then you're also connected with your magnetism. And so you're asking yourself, how do I feel? How does this feel on my skin? You are and there's practices that you can do. If you struggle with anxiety or your nervous system is not regulated, then you can get into your body by simply doing a body scan. I love body scan. So you can think about, like, you're closing your eyes and you're thinking about your toes, your ankles, your thighs, your belly button, your eyelids, your nostrils. And when you do that, you're dropping back into your body and you're regulating your nervous system. And a regulated nervous system is so incredibly important for our feminine energy, because we're all, it's like the neck down is our feminine. And so when we can be more connected and in our body and grounded in our nervous system, that in itself is what word am I looking for? When you can be grounded in your body and in your nervous system, you are more receptive in all areas. So again, it's easier to receive. It's easier to speak from your heart rather than your head or your wounds. It's easier to notice when red flags are appearing. It's easier to express yourself when you are regulated. So being grounded and soft in your body is important, not only in relationship but also in business, right? So if you are thinking it from in business, you do need your feminine energy and your masculine energy, and there's appropriate times to use both. And then it's the same thing with relationships. So you use your masculine energy to get on the dating apps, to have the conversations, to if it's a first date, you're driving there, you're putting on the clothes, you're getting ready, right? Like that's all masculine energy. And then your feminine energy is being able to receive and feel and express. So I hope that this was helpful. I love teaching my clients this kind of stuff because, again, it's like coming from somebody who essentially had to be like mom and dad and be the breadwinner and be the nurturer and all the things. It's it's wildly important to understand the polarity of feminine and masculine and know when to put it down and when to pick it up. And again, this is what I teach all of my clients. My clients are such badass women who are either single mothers, independent contractors, business owners, career oriented women. And they do have this experience where they're trying to differentiate their work life from their love life. And so if you feel like you want further coaching on this, you need further insight, go ahead and DM me and we can talk about, what could be the potential block for you in your love life and see what the next steps for you could be. Okay, everyone, I love you so much and I'll see you soon.